Welcome back to the Pig Trail Show. Let's take a break from all the football because we still have basketball to talk about, and that's why we're joined by our Kevin McPherson in our Hog Hoops Report. How you doing, Kevin?
Doing great on this Sunday. Who's not in the state of
Yeah,
Arkansas
right.
today?
It's the state of Arkansas is having a great weekend so far, and it's time to talk some hoops. And a guy we always kind of mention on this show rose up the rankings, has been in talks with Arkansas. Nick Smith Jr. You have an update on him.
Well, he's going to make his announcement on Wednesday this week, the 29th, at a public ceremony, by the way, and here in Little Rock. Nick Smith Jr., ESPN ranks him number 6 in the country, high-level five-star guy. Will play his senior season at North Little Rock after playing the previous 2 seasons at Sylvan Hills here in state. But Nick Smith Jr., 6'5" combo guard, maybe arguably the best player in the country. When you're in the top 10, you have a case to be made for the top player. And so Eric Musclemen still hunting his first five-star pledge since joining Arkansas, now entering season 3 in his 4th recruiting cycle. So Nick Smith Jr. is going to choose between the Hogs, Alabama, Auburn, and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Again, that's Wednesday, so just a few days away. And really, Nick, I think it's down to Arkansas and the Crimson Tide. I think it's really close. Those two, I do, and I think Nick Smith Jr.'s visit to Arkansas, his official visit a couple of weeks ago, Arkansas has continued to make him a priority going back 2 years ago to when he took his first and only other visit there, which was an unofficial in 2019. Eric Musselman had just been on the job a handful of months, but I think all of this wraps up and results in an Arkansas commitment. I could be wrong about that. I may be making apologies on next week's segment, but I think Arkansas is the leader right now anyway, with just a few days left. So this is big time. Arkansas has already got 3 players in the national top 100 committed. It ranks as a top 10 class so far by most services. But you had a Nick Smith Jr., a 5-star, and look, there's other ones out there. Jordan Walsh, Anthony Black, who've taken official visits to Arkansas, both top 20 guys, both 5-star players. I think Arkansas is in great shape with them. But first off the board, we're going to find out what Nick Smith Jr. is going to do in about 72 hours.
Yeah, Wednesday the 29th, Nick Smith Jr. And it always helps when everything around the university's buzzing, the football team's winning. Coaches have said other programs' success also helps their own. All right. Also, this following week, Arkansas is going to start up their practices. I know they had limited practices, but now it's going, they're ramping it up.
It's full bore, Nick, right? No pun intended.
Yeah.
Come on. It's contagious, right? You had 8 weeks of limited practice, 4 hours a week on court instruction during the summer. There was a 3-week break when the 21-22 school calendar, everybody got back to campus. Arkansas resumed those limited practices for about the last 4 weeks. So now you go from 4 hours on court, 4 hours in strength and conditioning, total of 8. You ramp it up to 20 total. And that's going to equate to about 12 hours a week. So Arkansas is going to basically triple its on-court practice time starting Tuesday, the 28th, through the start of basketball season, which is November 9th, season opener at home at Bud Walton Arena against Mercer. So Arkansas's got a lot of work to do. Now basketball programs are, at least with Eric Musselman, are not built long-term. They're year-to-year roster, a lot of roster turnover. But he brings in veterans to the transfer portal. This may be his most talented team, Nick. I think it's a team worthy of those top 10, top 15 preseason rankings that we've seen so far. But the real work, the heavy lifting, starts on Tuesday as Arkansas gets into full practice mode leading up to the start of the season. And, you mentioned a second ago, and I don't know if we want to segue to this, but Musselman and DVH, right. David Van Horn on the sideline. I want to talk about that.
Yeah, it seems like Musselman just had to get one more vacation in. There was a lot of pictures of him on social media and Dave Van Horn traveling to AT&T Stadium to take in that game. We already know the Musselman and Pittman have talked about how their friendship has grown. We've seen it on Twitter and on social media. But what did you make of Musselman on the sidelines for that game?
Well, the fact that Dave Van Horn and Musselman were both there, look, this is what's interesting. I don't know how many programs can look back in a calendar year. So far this year, the baseball Hogs were basically the number 1 team in college baseball. The Diamond Hogs were. We know that they didn't get out of the Super Regionals, the heartbreaker there. But effectively, even if you want to say we went from the number 1 team, they still had a top 10 finish, even though they didn't make the College World Series, if you want to look at it that way. Eric Musselman's basketball team, a top 10 finish, an Elite 8 appearance. And now the Arkansas, the football Hogs have broken into the top 10, leading into a big game next Saturday at Georgia, ranked number 2. Arkansas is number 8 now. How many times can you say that a program at this level, high major level, has all 3 sports in the top 10 in recent memory with all the coaches on the sideline for a game at the same time? I think it speaks to a lot of not only where Arkansas is right now in the strength of its program, but also the fact that these guys like each other and want to help each other out. I think they see that success breeds success, and there's no better way than to put your money where your mouth is, to show up and support the other guys. So I think Eric Musselman being there is big. We know that guy's a social media splash maker every day, but this was more than that, I think. And having Dave Van Horn there as well, that was a presence. Look, Arkansas gets a Southwest Classic win for the first time in a decade, and it was meaningful. And those guys being there just added a little bit more, and I think it was great. I thought we needed to talk about it today because, like you said, it's a football Sunday, reviewing everything that's happened so far for Razorback football. We had to have a little basketball talk, but bringing it full circle to football has been a lot of fun.
And they always say the culture, that's been the theme that Hunter Yurachek's brought in, these coaches that have embraced the Arkansas culture. And you saw it physically with those two on the sideline supporting Sam Pittman. All right, that's our Hog Hoops Report. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us. More Pig Trail Show after the break.